Hare Krishna. We would like to welcome everyone to reading Krishna book to Srila Prabhupada. Today we are on chapter 67, and of those online you can follow along with the subtitles as well. We offer our respectful obeisances to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. And to each other. Vancha kalpatarubhyacha kripa sindhupa evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Chapter 67. The deliverance of Dvivida gorilla. While Sukadev Goswami continued to speak on the transcendental pastimes and characteristics of Lord Krishna, King Parikshit, upon hearing him, was more and more enthusiastic and wanted to hear further. Sukadev Goswami next narrated the story of Dvivida, the gorilla who was killed by Lord Balrama. This gorilla was a great friend of Bhaumasura or Narakasura, who was killed by Krishna in connection with his kidnapping 16,000 princes from all over the world. Dvivida was the minister of King Sugriva. His brother Mainda was also a very powerful gorilla king. When Dvivida gorilla heard the story of his friend Bhaumasura's being killed by Lord Krishna, he planned to create mischief throughout the country in order to avenge the death of Bhaumasura. His first business was to set fires in village, towns and industrial and mining places, as well as in the residential quarters of the mercantile men who were busy dairying, farming and protecting cows. Sometimes he would uproot a big mountain and tear it to pieces. In this way, he created great disturbances all over the country, especially in the province of Kathwar. The city of Dwarika was situated in this Kathwar province, and because Lord Krishna used to live in this city, Dvivida specifically made it his target of disturbance.
Dvivida was as powerful as 10,000 elephants. Sometimes he would go to the seashore, and with his powerful hand he would create so much disturbance in the sea that he would flood the neighboring cities and villages. Often he would go to the hermitage of the great saintly person and sages and cause a great disturbance by smashing their beautiful gardens and orchards. Not only did he create disturbance in that way, but sometimes he would pass urine and stool on their secret sacrificing area. He would thus pollute the whole atmosphere. He also kidnapped both men and women, taking them away from their resident places to the caves of the mountain. After putting them within the caves, he would close the entrance with large chunk of stone, like the brigand insect, which arrests and carries away many flies and other insects and put them within the hole of the tree where it lives. Thus Dvivida regularly defied the law and the order of the country. Not only that, but he would sometimes pollute the female members of the many aristocratic families by forcibly raping them.
While creating such great disturbance all over the country, sometimes he heard very sweet musical sound from Raivantak mountain, and so he created that mountainous region There he was Lord Balaram in the midst of many beautiful young girls, enjoying their company while singing and dancing. David became captivated by the beauty of Lord Balaram's body, whose every feature was very beautiful, decorated as he was with a garland of lotus flowers. Similarly, all the young girls present dressed and garland with the flower of the exhibit of much beauty. Lord Balaram seemed fully intoxicated from drinking the Varuni beverage, and his eyes appeared to be rolling in drunken state. Lord Balaram appeared just like the king of the elephant in the midst of many she-elephants.
This gorilla by the name Dvivida could climb up into the trees and jump from one branch to another. Sometimes he would jerk the branches, creating a particular types of a sound, kala, killa, killa, so that Lord Balaram was greatly distracted from the pleasing atmosphere. Sometimes Vida would come before the woman and exhibit different types of caricatures. By nature, young women are apt to enjoy everything with laughter and joking. And when the gorilla came before them, they did not take him seriously, but simply laughed at him. However, the gorilla was so rude that even in the presence of Balram, he began to show the lower part of his body to the woman, and sometimes he would come forward to show his teeth while moving his eyebrows. He disrespected the woman even in the presence of Balram. Lord Balram's name suggested not only that he is very powerful, but that he takes pleasure in exhibiting extraordinary strength. So he took a stone and threw it at Dvida. The gorilla, however, artfully avoided being struck by the stone. In order to insult Balram, the gorilla took away the earthen pot in which the Varuni was kept. Dvida, being just intoxicated with his limited strength, began to tear off all the valuable clothes worn by Balram and accompanying young girls. He was so puffed up that he thought Balram could not do anything to chastise him, and he continued to offend Balramji and his companions.
When Lord Balram saw the disturbances created by the gorilla and heard that he had already performed many mischievous activities all over the country, he became very angry and decided to kill him. Immediately, he took his club in his hands. The gorilla could understand that now Balram was going to attack him. To counteract Balram, he immediately uprooted a big oak tree, and with great force he came and struck Lord Balrama's head. Lord Balrama, however, immediately caught hold of the big tree and remained undisturbed, just like a great mountain. To retaliate, he took his club named Sunanda and hit the gorilla with it, severely injuring his head. Currents of blood flowed from the gorilla's head with great force, but the stream of blood simply enhanced his beauty like a stream of liquid manganese coming out of a great mountain. The striking of Balrama's club did not even slightly disturb him. On the contrary, he immediately uprooted another big oak tree and after clipping off all its leaves, again struck Balrama's head with it. But Balrama, with the help of his club, tore the tree to pieces. Since the gorilla was very angry, he took another tree in his hands and struck Lord Balrama's body. Again Lord Balrama tore the tree to pieces and the fighting continued. Each time the gorilla would bring out a big tree to strike Balrama, Lord Balrama would tear the tree to pieces by the striking of his club, and the gorilla Dvivida would clutch another tree from another direction and again attack Balrama in the same way. As a result of this continuous fighting, the forest became treeless. When no more trees were available, Dvivida took help from the hills and threw large pieces of stone like rainfall upon the body of Balrama. Lord Balrama, in great sporting mood, began to smash those big pieces of stones into mere pebbles. The gorilla, being bereft of all trees and stone slabs, now stood before Balrama and waved his strong fists. Then with great force he began to beat Lord Balrama's chest with his fists. This time Lord Balrama became most angry. Since the gorilla was striking him with his hands, Lord Balrama would not strike him back with his own weapons, the club or the plough. Simply with his fists, he struck the collarbone of the gorilla. The blow proved fatal to Dvivida, who immediately vomited blood and fell unconscious upon the ground. When the gorilla fell, all the trees and forests appeared to totter.
After this horrible incident, all the Siddhas, great sages and saintly persons from the upper planetary system showered flowers on the person of Lord Balrama and vibrated sounds glorifying his supremacy. All of them chanted, "All glories to Lord Balrama. Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto your lotus feet. By killing this great demon Dvivida, you have initiated an auspicious era for the world." All such jubilant sounds of victory were heard from outer space. After killing the great demon Dvivida and being worshipped by the showers of flowers and glorious sounds of victory, Balrama returned to his capital city Dwarka. Thus ends the Bhakti-Vedanta purport of the 67th chapter of Krishna, the deliverance of Dvivida glory.
Hari Bo. Hare Krishna. Chapter 68. The marriage of Samba. Duryodhan, the son of Dhritarashtra, had a marriageable daughter by the name of Lakshmana. She was very highly qualified girl of the Kauru dynasty, and many princes wanted to marry her. In such case, the Swayamvar ceremony is held so that the girl may select her husband according to her own choice. In Lakshmana's Swayamvar assembly, when the girl was to select her husband, Samba appeared. He was the son of Krishna by Jambuvati, one of the Lord Krishna's chief wife. His son Samba was so named because he was pet child and always lived close to his mother. The name Samba indicates a son who is very much his mother's pet. Amba means mother and Sa means with. So this special name was given to him because he always remained with his mother. He was also known as Jambuvati Suta for the name same reason. As previously explained, all the sons of Krishna were qualified as their great father. Samba wanted Duryodhana's daughter Lakshmana, although she was not inclined to have him. Therefore Samba kidnapped Lakshmana by force from the Swayamvar assembly.
Because Samba took Lakshmana away from the assembly by force, all the members of the Kuru dynasty, such as Dhritarashtra, Bhishma, Vidura, and Arjun, although Arjun thought it an insult to their family tradition that the boy Samba could possibly have kidnapped their daughter. All of them knew that Lakshmana was not at all inclined to select him as her husband, and that she was not given a chance to select her own husband. Instead, she was forcibly taken away by this boy. Therefore, they decided that he must be punished. They unanimously declared that he was most impudent and had degraded the Kuru's family tradition. Therefore, all of them, under the counsel of elder members of the Kuru family, decided to arrest the boy, but not to kill him. They concluded that the girl could not be married to any boy other than Samba, since she had already been touched by him. According to the Vedic system, once being touched by some boy, a girl cannot be married or given to any other boy. Nor would anyone agree to marry a girl who had already been associated with another boy. The elder member of the family, such as Bhishma, wanted to arrest him. Thus, all the members of the Kuru dynasty, especially the great fighters, joined together just to teach him a lesson, and Krishna was made to commander-in-chief for a small battle.
While making the plan of arrest Samba, the Kurus concealed amongst themselves that upon his arrest the members of the Yadu dynasty would be very angry with them. There was every possibility of the Yadus accepting the challenge and fighting with them. But they also thought, if they came here to fight with us, what could they do? The members of the Yadu dynasty cannot equal the members of the Kuru dynasty, because the king of the Kuru dynasty are the emperors, whereas the king of the Yadu dynasty are able to enjoy their land only because we have granted it to them. The Kurus thought, if they come here to challenge us because their son was arrested, we shall accept the fight and teach them a lesson, so that automatically they will be subdued under pressure, as the senses are subdued by the mystic yoga process of pranayam. In the mechanical system of mystic yoga, the airs within the body are controlled and the senses are subdued and checked from being engaged in anything other than meditation upon Lord Vishnu.
After consultation and after receiving permission from the elder members of the Kuru dynasty, such as Bhishma and Dhritarashtra, 5 great warriors, Karna, Sala, Bhuri, Yajnaketu and Duryodhana, the father of the girl, who were all Maharathis and who were guided by the great fighter Vishmadev, attempted to arrest the boy Samba. There are different grades of fighters, including Maharathi, Ekarathi and Rathi. classified according to their fighting ability. These Maharathis could fight alone with many thousands of men. All of them combined together to arrest Samba. Samba was also a Maharathi, but he was alone and had to fight with the six other Maharathis. Still, he was not deterred when he saw all the great fighters of the Kuru dynasty coming up behind him to arrest him.
Alone he turned towards them and took his nice bow, posing exactly as a lion stands adamant in the face of other animals. Karna, leading the party, challenged Sambha. Why are you fleeing? Just stand, and we shall teach you a lesson. When challenged by another Kshatriya to stand and fight, a Kshatriya cannot run away. He must fight. Therefore, Samba accepted the challenge and stood alone before them. But as soon as he did so, he was overpowered by showers of arrows shot by all the great warriors. A lion never afraid of being chased by many wolves and jackals. Similarly, Samba, the glorious son of the Yadu dynasty, endowed with inconceivable potencies as the son of Lord Krishna, became very angry at the warriors of the Kuru dynasty for improperly using arrows against him. He fought them with great talent. First of all, he struck each of the six charioteers with six separate arrows. He used another four arrows to kill the charioteers' horses, four on each chariot.
दोनों साथ में लेना पड़ेगा, ये भी ले लेना साउंड।
The leader of the Kuru dynasty. The leader of Kuru dynasty, especially Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan, was joyful because they knew very well that Lord Balram was a great well-wisher of their family. There were no bounds of their joy on hearing the news, and so they immediately welcomed Uddhava. In order to properly receive Lord Balarama, they all took in their hands auspicious paraphernalia of his reception and went to see him outside the city gate. According to their respective positions, they welcomed Lord Balaram by giving him in charity nice cows and a mixture of arati, water and assortment of items such as honey, butter, flowers and sandalwood pulp. Because all of them knew the exalted position of Lord Balram as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they bowed their heads before the Lord with great respect. They all exchanged words of reception by asking one another about their welfare. And when such formalities were finished, Lord Balram in a great voice and very patiently submitted before them the following words of their consideration. My dear friends, this time I have come to you as a messenger with the order of all-powerful King Ugrasena. Please therefore hear the order with attention and great care. Without wasting a single moment, please try to carry out the order. King Ugrasena knows very well that you warriors of the Kuru dynasty improperly fought with the pious Samba, who was alone, and that with great difficulty and unrighteous tactics you have arrested him. We have all heard this news, but we were not very much agitated because we are the most intimately related to one another. I do not think we should disturb our good relationship. We should continue our friendship without any unnecessary fighting. Please therefore immediately release Samba and bring him along with his wife Lakshmana before me.
When Lord Balrama spoke in a commanding tone, full of heroic assertion, supremacy and chivalry, the great leaders of the Kuru dynasty did not appreciate his statements. Rather, all of them became agitated, and with great anger they said, "Oh, these words are very astonishing, but quite befitting the age of Kali. Otherwise, how could Balrama speak so vituperatively? The language and tone used by Balrama are simply abusive, and due to the influence of this age, it appears that the shoes befitting the feet want to rise to the top of the head, where the helmet is worn. We are connected with the Yadu dynasty by marriage, and because of this, they have been given the chance to come live with us, dine with us and sleep with us. Now they are taking advantage of these privileges. They had practically no position before we gave them a portion of our kingdom to rule, and now they are trying to command us. We have allowed the Yadu dynasty to use the royal insignias like the whisk, fan, conch shell, white umbrella, crown, royal thorn, sitting place and bedstead, along with everything else befitting the royal order. They should not have used such royal paraphernalia in our presence, but we did not check them due to our family relationships. Now they have the audacity to order us to do things. Well, enough of their impudence. We cannot allow them to do any more of these things, nor shall we allow them to use these royal insignias. It would be best to take all these things away. It is improper to feed a snake with milk, since such merciful activity simply increases his venom. The Yadu dynasty is now trying to go against those who have fed them so nicely. Their flourishing condition is due to our gifts and merciful behavior. And still, they are so shameless that they are trying to order us. How regrettable are these things? How regrettable are all these activities? No one in the world can enjoy anything if members of the Kuru dynasty like Bhishma, Dronacharya and Arjuna do not allow them to. Exactly as a lamb cannot enjoy life in the presence of a lion. Without our desire, it is not even possible for the demigods in heaven, headed by King Indra, to find enjoyment in life. What to speak of ordinary human beings? Actually, the members of the Kuru dynasty were very much puffed up due to their opulence, kingdom, aristocracy, family tradition, great warriors, family members, and vast, expansive empire. They did not even observe common formalities of civilized society, and in the presence of Lord Balrama, they uttered insulting words about the Yadu dynasty. Having spoken in this unmannerly way, they returned to their city of Hastinapur.
Although Lord Balrama patiently heard their insulting words and simply observed their uncivil behavior, from his appearance it was clear that he was burning with anger and was thinking of retaliating with great vengeance. His bodily features became so much agitated that it was difficult for anyone to look at him. He laughed very loudly and said, "It is true that if a man becomes too much puffed up because of his family, opulence, beauty, and material advancement, he no longer wants a peaceful life but becomes belligerent towards all others. It is useless to give such a person good instruction for gentle behavior and a peaceful life. On the contrary, one should search out the ways and the means to punish him. Generally, due to material opulence, a man becomes exactly like an animal. To give an animal peaceful instruction is useless, and the only means is argumentum ad baculum. In other words, the only means to keep animals in order is a stick. Just see how impudent are the members of the Kuru dynasty. I wanted to make a peaceful settlement despite the anger of all the other members of the Yadu dynasty, including Lord Krishna himself. They were preparing to attack the whole kingdom of the Kuru dynasty, but I pacified them and took the trouble to come here to settle the affair without any fighting. Yet, these rascals behave like this. It is clear that they do not want a peaceful settlement, for they are factually warmongers. With great pride, they have repeatedly insulted me by calling the Yadu dynasty ill names.
Even the king of heaven, Indra, abides by the order of the Yadu dynasty. And you consider King Ugrasen, the head of Bhoja, Varanasi, Andika, and Yadavas, to be the leader of a small prediction. Your concentration is wonderful. You do not care for the King Ugrasen, whose order is obeyed even by the King Indra. consider excellent position of the Yadu dynasty, they have forcefully used both the assembly house and the Parijat tree of the heavenly planet, and still you think that they cannot order you. Don't you even think that Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, can sit on the excellent royal throne and command everyone? All right, if you think in is like that, you deserve to be taught a very good lesson. You have thought it is wise that the royal insignia like the whisk fan, white umbrella, royal throne, and other principally paraphernalia not be used by the Yadu dynasty. Do this means that even Lord Krishna, the Lord of the whole creation and the husband of the goddess of fortune, cannot use this royal paraphernalia. The dust of Krishna's lotus feet is worshipped by all great demigods. The Ganges water includes the whole world, and since it emanates from his lotus feet, its bank have turned into the great places of pilgrimage. The principal deities of all the planets engage in his service and consider himself the most fortunate to take the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna on their hamlets. Great demigods like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and even the goddess of fortune and I are simply plenary parts of his spiritual identity. And still you think that he is not fit to use the royal insignia or even sit on the royal throne. Alas, how regrettable it is that these fools consider us, the members of Yadu dynasty, to be like the shoes and themselves like the hamlets. It is clear now that these leaders of the Kauru dynasty have become mad over their worldly position and opulences. Every statement they made was full of crazy proposal. I should immediately take them to the task and bring them to their senses. If I do not take step against them, it will be improper on my part. Therefore, on this very day, I shall rid the whole world of any trace of the Kauru dynasty. I shall finish them off immediately. While talking like this, Lord Balaram seemed so furious that he looked as if he could burn the whole cosmos creation to ashes. He stood up steadily and taking his plough in his hand, began to strike the earth with it, separating the whole city of Hastinapur from the earth, and then he began to drag the city toward the flowing water of the river Ganges. This caused a great tumult throughout the Hastinapur, as if there had been an earthquake, and it seemed that the whole city would be dismantled.
When all the members of the Kuru dynasty saw that their city was about to fall into the water of Ganges, and when they heard their citizens howling in great anxiety, they immediately came to their senses and understood what was happening. Thus, without waiting another second, they brought forward their daughter Lakshmana. They also brought Samba, who had forcibly tried to take her away, keeping him in the forefront with Lakshmana at his back. All the members of the Kuru dynasty appeared before Lord Balaram with folded hands just to beg the pardon of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now using good senses, they said, "O Lord Balaram, reservoir of all pleasure, you are the maintainer and support of entire cosmic situation. Unfortunately, we were all unaware of your inconceivable potency. Dear Lord, please consider us foolish, most foolish. Our intelligence was bewildered and not in order. Therefore, we have come before you to beg your pardon. Please excuse us. You are the original creator, sustainer, and annihilator of the whole cosmic manifestation. And still, your position is always transcendental. O all-powerful Lord, great sages speak about you. You are the original proprietor, and everything in the world just is like you, your toy. O unlimited one, you have hold on everything, and like child's play, you hold all the planetary systems on your head. When the time for dissolution comes, you close up the whole cosmic manifestation within yourself. At that time, nothing remains but yourself, lying in a cosmic ocean as the Mahavishnu. Our dear Lord, you have appeared on this earth in your transcendental body just for the maintenance of the cosmic situation. You are above all anger, envy, and enmity. Whatever you do, even in the form of chastisement, is auspicious for the whole material existence. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you because you are the imperishable Supreme Personality of Godhead, to the reservoir of all opulence and opportunities. O Creator of innumerable universes, let us fall down and offer you your respectful obeisances again and again. We are now completely surrendered unto you. Please, therefore, be merciful upon us and give us your protection. When the prominent members of the Kuru dynasty, from grandfather Bhismadev to Arjun and Duryodhan, had offered their respectful prayers in that way, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Balaram, immediately became softened and assured them that there was no cause for fear and that they need not worry.
For this most part, it was the practice of the Kshatriya kings to inaugurate some kinds of kind of fighting between the parties of the bride and bridegroom before the marriage. When Sam forcibly took away Lakshmana, the elder members of the Kuru dynasty were pleased to see that he was actually the suitable match for her. In order to see his personal strength, however, they fought with him and without respect for the regulations of fighting. They all arrested him when the Yadu dynasty decided to release Sam for the confinement of the Kurus. Lord Balram came personally to settle the matter, and as a powerful Kshatriya, he ordered them to free Samba immediately. The Kauravas were superficially insulted by the order, so they challenged Lord Balrama's power. They simply wanted to see him exhibit his inconceivable strength. Thus, with great pleasure, they handed over their daughter to Samba, and the whole matter was settled. Duryodhan, being affectionate towards his daughter Lakshmana, had her married to Samba in great pomp. For her dowry, he first gave 1,200 elephants, each at least 60 years old. Then he gave 10,000 nice horses, 6,000 chariots, dazzling just like the sunshine, and 1,000 maidservants decorated with golden ornaments. Lord Balram, the most prominent member of the Yudra dynasty, acted as a guardian of the bridegrooms, Samba, and very pleasingly accepted the dowry. Balram was very satisfied after his great reception from the side of the Kurus, and accompanied by the newly married couple, he started towards his capital city of Dwarka.
Lord Balrama triumphantly reached Dwarika, where he met with many citizens who were all his devotees and friends. When they all assembled, Lord Balrama narrated the whole story of the marriage, and they were astonished to hear how Balrama had made the city of Hastinapur tremble. It is confirmed by Sukdev Goswami that in those days the river flowing through the city of Hastinapur, present day New Delhi, was known as the Ganges, although today it is called the Yamuna. From authorities like Jiva Goswami, it is confirmed that the Ganges and Yamuna are the same river flowing in different courses. The part of the Ganges which flows through Hastinapur to the area of Vrindavan is called the Yamuna, because it is sanctified by the transcendental pastime of Lord Krishna. The part of Hastinapur which slopes toward the Yamuna becomes inundated during the rain season, and reminds everyone of Lord Balrama's threatening to cast the city into the Ganges. Thus ends the Bhakti-Vedanta purport of the 68th chapter of Krishna, the marriage of Samba. Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
तो बंद करेंगे, वो हो जाएगा।
हाफ चैप्टर वी कैन फिनिश।
हाँ, नहीं, हाफ ने पूरा चैप्टर बोला माता जी ने, पूरा करो।
लास्ट टाइम भी आधा छोड़ दिया था माता जी।
नहीं, लेकिन वो अभी मुझे मैसेज है कि पूरा करो।
तो बस ठीक है, बंद करो।
और 10 मिनट का एक्स्ट्रा हो जाएगा। Chapter 69. The great sage Narada visits different homes of Lord Krishna. When the great sage Narada heard that Lord Krishna had married 16,000 wives after he had killed the demon Narasura, sometimes called Bhaumasura, he was astonished that Lord Krishna had expanded himself into 16,000 forms and married these wives simultaneously in different palaces. Being inquisitive as to how Krishna was managing his household affairs with so many wives, Narada, desiring to see these pastimes, set out to visit Krishna's different homes. When Narada arrived in Dwarika, he saw gardens and parks full of various flowers of different colors, and also orchards overloaded with a variety of fruits. Beautiful birds were chirping, and peacock crowed delightfully. There were ponds full of the blue and red lotus flowers, and some of these ponds were filled with varieties of lilies. The lakes were full of nice swans and cranes, and the voices of these birds resounded everywhere. In the city there were as many as 9 lakh great palaces built of first-class marble, with gates and doors made of silver. The pillars of the houses and palaces were bedecked with jewels, such as tungsten, sapphire, and emerald, and the flowers gave off a beautiful luster. The highways, lanes, streets, crossings, and the marketplaces were all beautifully decorated. The whole city was full of residential homes. assembly houses and temples, all of different architectural beauty. All of this made Dwarika a glowing city. The big avenues, crossings, lanes, and streets, and also the thresholds of every residential house were very clean. On both sides of every path there were bushes, and at regular intervals there were large trees that shaded the avenues so that the sunshine would not bother the passerby.
In this greatly beautiful city of Dwarka, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God, had many residence quarters. The great king and the principal of the world used to visit these palaces just to worship him. The agricultural plan were made personally by Vishwakarma, the engineer of the demigod, and in the construction of the places in exhibited all his talent and ignorance. These residence quarters numbered more than 16,000, and a different queens of Lord Krishna reside in each of them. The great sages Narada entered one of these houses and saw that the pillars were made of coral and the ceiling were beaded with the jewels. The walls as well as the arching between the pillars glowed from the decorations of the different kinds of separs. Throughout the palace were many canopies made by the Vishwakarma that were decorated with the string of pearls. The chairs and the other furniture were made of ivory and beaded with the gold and diamonds, and the jeweled lamps displayed the darkness within the lamp palace. There was so much incense of fragrance gum burning that the second fumes were coming out of the windows. The peacocks sitting on the step became illuminated by the fumes, mistaking them for the clouds, and began dancing jubilantly. There were many maidservants, all of whom were decorated with gold necklace, bangles, and beautiful saris. They were also men servants, nicely dressed in cloth and turbans and jewels, earrings, beautiful as they were. The servants were all engaged in different household duties.
Narad saw that Lord Krishna was sitting with Rukmini Devi, in mistress of that particular palace, who was holding the handle of chamar whisk. Even though there were many thousands of maid servants equally beautiful and qualified and of the same age, Rukmini personally was engaged in fanning Lord Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, worshipped even by Narad. Yet, as soon as Krishna saw Narad enter the palace, he got down immediately from the Rukmini's bedstead and stood up to honor him. The Lord Krishna is the teacher of the whole world, and in order to instruct everyone how to respect a saintly person like Narad Muni, he bowed down, touching his helmet to the ground. Not only did Krishna bow down, but he also touched the feet of Narad and with folded hands requested him to sit on his chair. Lord Krishna is Supreme Personality of God, Supreme Personality, worshipped by all the devotees. He is the most worshipable spiritual master of everyone. The Ganges water which emanates from his feet sanctified the three worlds. All qualified Brahmins worship him, and therefore he is called Brahmanya Deva. Take this one.
Brahman means one who fully possesses the Brahmanical qualifications, which are said to be as follows: truthfulness, self-control, purity, mastery of the senses, simplicity, full knowledge by practical applications, and engagements in devotional service. Lord Krishna possesses all these qualities and he is worshipped by persons who themselves possess such qualities. These are thousands and millions of names of Lord Krishna, Vishnu Sahasranam, and all of them are given to him because of his transcendental qualities. Lord Krishna in Dwarka enjoyed the pastime of a perfect human being. Therefore, when he washed the feet of the sage Narad and took the water on his head, Narad did not object, knowing well that the Lord did so to teach everyone how to respect saintly persons. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is the original Narayan and eternal friend of all living entities, thus worshipped the sage Narada according to Vedic regulative principles. Welcoming him with sweet nectarian words, he addressed Narada as Bhagwan, or one who is self-sufficient, possessing all knowledge, renunciation, strength, fame, beauty, and other similar opulences. He particularly asked Narada, "What can I do in your service?"
Narada replied, "My dear Lord, this kind of behavior by your Lordship is not at all astonishing. For you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead and Master of all species of living entities. You are the Supreme Friend of all living entities. But at the same time, you are the Supreme Chastiser of the miscreants and the envious. I know that your Lordship has descended to this earth for the proper maintenance of the whole universe. Your appearance, therefore, is not forced by any other agency. By your sweet will only you agree to appear and disappear. It is my great fortune that I have been able to see your lotus feet today. Anyone who becomes attached to your lotus feet is elevated to the supreme position of neutrality and is uncontaminated by the material modes of nature. My Lord, you are unlimited. There is no limit to your opulences. Great demigods like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are always busy placing you within their hearts and meditating upon you. The conditioned souls who have now been put into the blind well of material existence can get out of this eternal captivity only by accepting your lotus feet. Thus, you are the only shelter of all conditioned souls. My dear Lord, you have very kindly asked what you can do for me. In answer to this, I simply request that I may not forget your lotus feet at any time. I do not care where I may be, but I pray that I constantly be allowed to remember your lotus feet.
By asking this benediction from the Lord, the sage Narada showed the ideal pair of all pure devotees. A pure devotee never asks for any kind of material or spiritual benediction from the Lord. His only prayer is that he may not forget the lotus feet of the Lord in any condition of life. A pure devotee doesn't care whether he is put into the heaven or hell. He is satisfied anywhere, provided he can constantly remember the lotus feet of the Lord. Lord Chaitanya taught this same process of prayer in his Shikshashtaka, in which he clearly stated that all he wanted was devotional service, birth after birth. A pure devotee doesn't even want to stop the repetition of birth and death. To a pure devotee, it doesn't matter whether he has to take birth again in the various spaces of life. His only ambition is that he not forget the lotus feet of the Lord in any condition of life. After departing from the palace of Rukmini, Naraji wanted to see further activities of Lord Krishna, internal potency, Yoga Maya. Thus he entered the palace of another queen. There he saw Lord Krishna engaged in playing chess with his dear wife and Uddhava. The Lord immediately got up from his personal seat and invited Narada Muni to sit there. The Lord again worshipped him with as much paraphernalia for reception as he had used in the palace of Rukmini. After worshipping him properly, Lord Krishna acted as if he did not know what had happened in the palace of Rukmini. He therefore told Narada, "My dear sage, when your holiness comes, you are full in yourself. Although we are householders and are always in need, you don't require anyone's help, for you are self-satisfied. Under the circumstances, what reception can we offer you, and what can we possibly give you? Yet, oh."
माइक बंद हो गया।
Yet, Yet, since your holiness is a Brahmana, it is our duty to offer you something as far as possible. Therefore, I beg you to please order me. What can I do for you?
We stop here. Hare Krishna. Therefore, I beg. Naraji knew everything about the pastime of the Lord, so without further discussion, he simply left the palace silently in a great astonishment over the Lord's activities. He then entered another palace. This time, Naraji saw that Lord Krishna was engaged as an affectionate father petting his small children. From there he entered another palace and saw Lord Krishna preparing to take his bath. In this way, Saint Narad entered each and every one of the 16,000 residence palace of the queens of Lord Krishna, and in each of them he found Krishna engaged in different ways.
In one palace.
Different ways. Where was it?
In one palace.
That's too far.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, where is gone? In one palace. Oh.
Oh, lost.
In one palace, he found Krishna offering oblations to the sacrificial fire and performing the ritualistic ceremonies of the Vedas. Vedas as enjoined for householders. In another palace, he found Krishna performing the Panch Yajna sacrifice, which is compulsory for a householder. This yajna is also known as Panch Suna. Knowingly and unknowingly, everyone, especially the householder, commits 5 kinds of sinful activities. When we receive water from a water pitcher, we kill many germs they are in it. Similarly, when we use a grinding machine or eat food, we kill many germs. When sweeping a floor or snita in a fire, we kill many germs, and when we walk on the street, we kill many ants and other insects. Consciously or unconsciously, in all our different activities, we are killing. Therefore, it is incumbent upon every householder to perform the Panchsuna sacrifice to rid himself of the reactions to such sinful activities. In the one palace, Narada found Lord Krishna feeding Brahmanas after performing ritualistic yajna. In another palace, Narada found Krishna silently chanting the Gayatri mantra, and in a third, he found him practicing fighting with a sword and shield. In some places, Lord Krishna was found riding on horses, elephants, on chariots, and wandering hither and thither. Elsewhere, he was found lying down on his bedstead, taking rest, and somewhere else he was found sitting in his chair, being praised by the prayers of his different devotees. In some of the palaces, he was found consulting with ministers like Uddhava on important matters of business. In one palace, he was found surrounded by many young society girls enjoying in a swimming pool. In another palace, he was found giving decorated cows in charity to the Brahmanas, and in another palace he was found hearing the narrations of the Puranas and of histories such as the Mahabharata, which are supplementary scriptures for the disseminating Vedic knowledge to common people by narrating important instances in the history of the universe. Somewhere Lord Krishna was found enjoying the company of a particular wife by exchanging joking words with her. Somewhere else he was found engaged with his wife in religious ritualistic functions. Since it is necessary for householders to increase their financial assets for various expenditures, Krishna was found somewhere engaged in matter of economic development. Somewhere else he was found enjoying family life according to the regulative principles of the Shastras.
You read.
In one palace, he was found sitting in meditation as if concentrating his mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is beyond these material universes. Meditation, as recommended in authorized scripture, is meant for concentrating one's mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. Lord Krishna is himself the original Vishnu, but because he played the part of a human being, he taught us definitely by his personal behavior what is meant by meditation. Somewhere, Lord Krishna was found satisfying elderly superiors by supplying them things they needed. Somewhere else, Naradji found that Lord Krishna was engaged in discussing topics of fighting, and somewhere else in making peace with enemies. Somewhere Lord Krishna was found discussing the ultimate auspicious activity for the entire human society with his elder brother, Lord Balarama. Narada saw Lord Krishna engaged in getting his sons and daughters married with suitable brides and bridegrooms in due course of time, and the marriage ceremonies were being performed with great pomp. In one palace, the Lord was found bidding farewell to his daughters, and in another, he was found receiving a daughter-in-law. People throughout the whole city were astonished to see such a pomp and ceremonies.
Somewhere Lord was seen performing different types of sacrifices to satisfy the demigods, who are only his qualitative expansions. Somewhere he was seen engaged in public welfare activities, establishing deep wells for the water supply, rest houses and the gardens for unknown guests, and great monasteries and temples for saintly persons. There are some of the duties enjoined in the Vedas for householders for fulfillment of their material desires. Somewhere Lord was found as a Kshatriya king engaged in hunting animals in the forest and riding on a very beautiful Sindhi horse. According to Vedic regulation, the Kshatriya were allowed to kill prescribed animals on certain occasions, either to maintain peace in the forest or to offer the animals in the sacrifice fire. Kshatriyas are allowed to practice this killing art because they have to kill their enemies mercilessly to maintain peace in society. In one situation, the great sage Narada saw Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead and Master of Mystic Powers, acting as a spy by changing his usual dress in order to understand the motives of different citizens in the city and the palaces.
Saint Narad saw all these activities of the Lord, who is the super soul of all living entities, but who played the role of an ordinary human being to manifest the activities of his internal potency. Similarly, within himself, Narada addressed the Lord as follows: My dear Lord of all mystic power, the object of meditation of the great mystic, the extent of your mystic power is certainly inconceivable, even to the mystic like the Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. But by your mercy, because of my being always engaged in your transcendental loving service of your lotus feet, your Lordship has very kindly relieved to me the action of your internal potency. My dear Lord, you are worshipable by all the demigods and the predominating deities of the all 14 planetary systems are completely aware of your transcendental fame. Now please give me your blessing so that I may be able to travel all over the universe singing the glories of your transcendental activities. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, replied to the Narada as follows: My dear Lord, my dear Narada, O sages among the demigods, you know that I am the supreme instructor and perfect follower of the all religion principle, as well as the supreme enforcer of such principle. I can therefore personally execute such religion principle in order to teach the whole world how to act. My dear son, it is my desire that you not be belittled by such demonstration of my internal energy.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead was engaged in his so-called household affairs in order to teach people how one can sanctify one's household life. Although one may be attached to the imprisonment of material existence, actually one is obliged to continue them of material existence because of a household life. But Lord, being very kind upon householders, demonstrated the path of sanctifying the ordinary household life, because Krishna is the center of all activities. The life of the Krishna conscious householder is transcendental to Vedic injunction and is automatically sanctified. Thus, Narad saw all a single Krishna living in 16,000 palaces by his planetary expansion. Due to his inconceivable energy, he was visible in the palace of each and every individual queen. Lord Krishna has unlimited power, and Narad's astonishment was boundless upon observing again and again demonstration of Lord Krishna's internal energy. Lord Krishna behaved by his personal example as if he is very much attached to the four principles of civilized life, namely religion, economic development, sense gratification and salvation. These four principles of material existence are necessary for spiritual advancement for human society, and although the Lord Krishna had no need to do so, he exhibited his household activities so that people might follow in his footsteps for their own interest. Lord Krishna satisfied the sage Narad in every way. Narad was very much pleased by seeing the Lord's activity in Dwarka, and thus he departed.
In narrating the activities of Lord Krishna in Dwarka, Sukdev Goswami explained to King Parikshit how Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, descends to this material universe by the agency of his internal potency and personally exhibits the principles which, if followed, can lead one to achieve the ultimate goal of life. All the queens in Dwarka, more than 16,000 in number, engaged their feminine attractive features in the transcendental service of the Lord by smiling and serving. And the Lord was pleased to behave with them exactly like a perfect husband enjoying household life. One should know definitely that such pastimes cannot be performed by anyone but Lord Sri Krishna, who is the original cause of the creation, maintenance and dissolution of the whole cosmic manifestation. Anyone who attentively hears the narrations of the Lord pastimes in Dwarka or supports a preacher of the Krishna conscious movement will certainly find it very easy to traverse the path of liberation and taste the nectar of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, and thus he will be engaged in Lord Krishna's devotional service. Thus ends the Bhakti-Vedanta purport of the 69th chapter of Krishna. The great sage Narada visits the different homes of Lord Krishna.
So, that concludes our reading to Srila Prabhupada. We offer our respectful obeisances to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti-Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. And to each other. Vancha kalpatarubhyacha kripa sindhupa evacha patitanam pavanebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna.